today is the day that we start on Ghost from the Past here. Tarie, what is a ghost from the past?
Okay, so we're bringing this issue of ghosts from the past. We're saying, when we talk about ghosts from the past, we're saying these are hidden forces from historical experience and social conditioning that influence present behavior. So saying, because we talk about a ghost, something that is from the past.
From the past, yeah.
But when we talk about it, we are saying it has influence in our present. Probably someone is seeing ghosts, someone, whether they are real, mystical, it's a debate for another day. But we're saying something that is historical, that tends to have an impact on the present. So in this sense, we're talking about historical experience or some social conditioning from the past that now is a present effect on how we behave. They shape how we think, how we respond, how organizations functions, how nations evolve. So these are ghosts or historical experiences that are carried through language, through education, through culture, through institutions, through religion, politics, and family systems. So I'm saying it is historical experience and social conditions that are impacting our present.
Yeah, we've heard in some cases, even at corporate level, even at home level,
yes.
So those are more like the ghosts from the past.
Yeah, it's more of ghosts from the past. So the reason why I brought this issue in our Living by Design series, it's a special edition that was awakened in me when we were celebrating Africa Day.
Africa Day, yeah.
So I began to look at Africa and some of the historical experiences and social conditioning that has probably hampered Africa's development, that has had an impact on why Africa is where it is. We may try to run away from it, we may try to hide behind our fingers, but Africa, in terms of development, we are somehow behind. And there are people sometimes probably who would say it's exaggerated, but I always argue to their agreement with the fact that we are 100 to 150 years behind in terms of development.
That much?
So, to some extent, there are certain issues that we are, of course, 100 years behind. The one example that I always mention is the kind of sicknesses that we are still dealing with were dealt with over 100 years in some countries. We talk of malaria, we talk of diarrhea, we talk of cholera. There are things that were handled.
They're only felt in Africa.
Yeah, they are felt in Africa. They were addressed in the early 20th century. Kuma 19 So, but we still dealing with such issues. So, to that effect, we are that behind. Then sometimes also, even if you look at probably the innovation and development gap, it's now, it could be probably not as big as 100 years, but we are behind technologically, we are behind. And why? Because the greater part of technology, we are still consumers of technology. We are not yet producers of many things we consume. But in terms of production, look at probably cars that are made in Africa. It's very, very small part in terms of that. Look at technology. Most of what we do is assembling. But in terms of real innovation, we are way behind.
South Africa.
So it's something that we have to look at. And when we look at probably how our development is progressing, sometimes it seems as if we are retrogressing. Because in certain things probably we're better off 20 years ago than we are. In certain things, in certain issues. So that in mind, this is where we're saying we have to look at what kind of effect, what is the interior conditions of us as Africans, and what could have been some of the factors that have contributed to where we are. So this is where we are bring this issue of ghosts from the past. This is why I thought it could be a conversation worth having with Africa in mind, because I know that Africa's future is really big. After this conversation, I think we as we work on design, we have to look at probably issues that are supposed to focus on Africa's development. There's an article that I was writing where I looked at 10 opportunities for Africa, why Africa in the next 50 years should be a force to reckon. So we'll look at the positive aspects of what we can harness, but we can only harness those things and make the most out of them if we learn how to live by design. But we can't live by design if there are default settings that seem to be so strong. So
the default settings are there for sure.
yeah. So this conversation is looking at default settings. Why do we seem to be living by default? The ghosts are haunting us. So this is where the conversation is coming. So the ghosts are having an impact of our lives, that they seem to set the default settings, that someone can predict how things are going to end up because of the impact of the historical settings and the social conditioning. So this is where we are saying these historical experiences create a social memory, and social memory shapes our belief systems. The belief systems shape our leadership identity. Our leadership identity shapes decisions, and systems reproduce the same social memory in the next generation. So there are patterns that we repeat, and the source of those patterns, this is where we're looking at this conversation of ghosts from the past. So this is where we are coming from when we talk about ghosts from the past. And usually I talk about 7 ghosts.
So 7 ghosts.
That we'll look at. And some of these ghosts, okay, let me just... So the ghost that we'll look at is number 1, colonialism. Number 2, the ghost of identity and distortion, the ghost of superstition, the ghost of entitlement, the ghost of the resource curse, broken education system, conflict culture, and non-developmental politics. So these are things that I have been studying. I've actually written a leadership book that I'll be launching before the end of this year. Okay. I've launched the leadership book called Ghosts from the Past.
Okay, that's the title of the book.
Yeah, Ghosts from the Past. But
Ghosts from the Past.
Yeah, we're now looking at Africa's leadership crisis and the leadership solution. We look at the crisis and the solution. The solution. Okay. How we can address leadership issues by understanding this cost. So when we talk about leadership, remember we said leadership is not just someone who's in position, but everyone. You are your own leader. You are the leader of your own life. So every conversation that is hinged around leadership affects everyone. Why? Because we are supposed to, when you talk about living by design, then it's leadership. Why? Because you're supposed to lead your life to where you want it to go. So it could be at individual level, relationship level, family level, business level, organizational level, national level, continental level. We're talking about leadership. We're saying we want to design the kind of life that we want. Why? Because we look at the default settings and we say, this kind of life, we can't continue repeating these patterns. We can't continue experiencing this reality. So we have to create the reality that we want. So with that in mind, this is where we're saying we have to know how to address some of the things that affect our capacity, our intention, our ability to design. We want to design our lives, but why is it that we're failing to define? So the number 1 ghost that affects us is colonialism. So when you look at colonialism, I call colonialism the ghost of identity distortion. Somehow colonialism distorted our identity. It distorted how we see ourselves, and the impact is felt in different levels. So I'm saying colonialism did not only take our land, did not only affect our resources, but it took our identity. This is where we want to start now. So it took our identity. So somehow, we wonder why we continuously do the way we do and fail to realize that we have been programmed, and we've been programmed by the impact and effects of colonialism. So the impact are haunting us day by day. They affect how we see ourselves. They affect how we approach life. There's a quote that I want to begin with when you look at colonialism, a quote by Wangari Maathai. He says, "Lack of self-knowledge that comes from Africans' cultural deracination is one of the most troubling and long-lasting effects of colonialism." So he says, no, we have a lack of self-knowledge. We don't really know who we are. There's a recent song by Wingy D, which is talking about kudzokera kuchinyakare chedu, to really embrace it. Why? Because
I've seen that song.
You've seen that song?
Yeah.
So why? Because we have lost some self-knowledge of who we really are. Because okay, let me finish with this quote. So it's saying lack of self-knowledge that comes from Africans' cultural deracination. So it's the deracination of our culture is one of the most troubling and long-lasting effects of colonialism. Like other people who experience not only physical colonization, but also what might be called colonization of the mind, Africans have been obscured from themselves. So saying the impact of colonialism is we have been obscured from ourselves. Remember Bob Marley talking about emancipation of ourselves from mental slavery.
From mental slavery, yes.
So it is as if they've looked at themselves through another person's mirror, whether that of a colonial administrator, a missionary, a teacher, or political leader, and seen their own cracked reflections or distorted images if they've seen themselves at all. So this is the quote now. So he's saying we have been robbed of our true identity and we have been obscured from ourselves. Whatever that seems to be ours, several times we try to run away from it. So he's saying it's as if we are looking into another person's mirror and we see a distorted or a cracked image of ourselves. So the colonization has created a mirror, and when we look at ourselves, the image is distorted, how we see ourselves. So it has altered our self-perception and introduced a psychological dependence. So this affects how we live. This affects the system that we design. So we're going to break it and understand how it applies at individual level. But several times we don't see it, but it has an impact on our lives. If we look at some of the assumptions, let me quickly bring one assumption that indicate what I'm saying. When people struggle, or let me say this, in the business sector, part of my business I'm saying.
Yeah, that term is there. It is there. Yeah.
What characterizes my business? I'm saying.
Lack of order, lack of professionalism.
And if you heard the phrase like, "I want to take my good at business," so it's something that is deep at the core of our being. So it can be identified with us.
Yeah.
Charge room.
The moment it's something else.
Then I know what I'm saying. So these are effects of colonialism. Don't go and say one such boy I'm the
boy.
One such boy. Ten why the boy.
10 is 10.
You see, so these are the issues we're saying they've crept into our lives. They've affected our identity. So we never understand the impact of colonialism to this effect. So it is these now perceptions, it is these this identity of how we see ourselves that begin to affect the kind of systems that we design, our kind of approach to everything that we do. So we are saying it has altered colonialism has altered our self-perception and introduced a psychological dependence. It produces leaders and citizens who look at themselves through another person's mirror. How does it manifest? We've indicated some of the issues, practical examples. So number one, it manifests in inferiority complex.
Inferiority complex.
So somehow, we kind of feel we are inferior. So the impact sometimes, it happens in dress code. It happens if we go now to the cosmetic world.
It's even worse.
We're trying to lighten our skin. We're trying to.
We believe that lighter is better.
It's better. So it's an inferiority complex. Why? Because being dark is associated with everything dark.
Being dark is condemned.
It's condemned. Someone was saying, the black magic, black market, black what. It's something that has happened we think being black is inferior. Being black is less organized. So it manifests in an inferiority complex, number one. Number two, preference for foreign validation. preference. We want to be validated by foreign powers. The late President Robert Mugabe, Queen. So we think that is special.
That's the standard.
That's the standard. So can also now foreign validation, then you are inferior. So we try by all means to seek foreign validation. I've been battling this. I ran a school, and I do a lot of training programs. So when people want to enroll, one of the questions that I address daily is are your programs internationally accredited?
That's
the question that people always ask me.
Validation.
Validation. Then I always tell them, the international world cannot accredit what I do. Why? Because it's something that is coming from understanding our roots. So they don't even know for them to validate, because it's something that is evolving, that I have designed from understanding where we are. It will get internal validation when it begins to get results that are prevalent. So, Australia. Then I'm telling, why do you want to go to Australia with this validation? We are training you to develop our own. Because when they develop the systems that were of benefit to them, that we are trying to inherit, they were not seeking international validation, but they were seeking the result and the outcome that would come at their own level. Then when the results begin to be evident, they begin to get international recognition and validation. So it manifests in these things. Then number 2, 3, it's about copy and paste models of development. So whenever it's something that is coming, that is foreign, I always joke, when churches are having conferences, speaker from America. Why? Because we think they have something special that they can bring to us. To tell you the truth, I have heard some of these pro-Christian programs that come from foreign countries. When they bring them, when you evaluate them, I'm pained so much with most of them. Why? Because they are so backward, and they think we are so uncivilized, and they think we are so underdeveloped, and they think we are so behind. Because some of the things that they bring, and they say these are for pastors, it's what we give to our children, to our children's church ministry. And they are saying this is for pastors, but we accept them. Why? Because a white man has brought them the teachings. So I'm saying copy and paste models of development. Then number 4, disconnection from indigenous wisdom. We don't want indigenous wisdom. We don't think we have our indigenous archives, have wisdom that can really make an impact. I always give the example of Great Zimbabwe. Great Zimbabwe, it's just stones that were arranged architecturally. They would need to study to understand how did they make.
Even up to now, there's no cement.
And they've started over a long period.
It's still standing.
It's still standing. So these are monuments that are coming from indigenous knowledge systems. So there is wisdom in our indigenous systems, but we try to disconnect a lot. I tell you, last week I wrote an article of 10 contributions that Africa made to the world. It was in my Africa Day special message. 10 contributions that Africa has made to the world. One of them is values that have tried to preserve society. Wherever our values have been adopted, society has been preserved. Wherever people have not taken some of the Ubuntu values, you see societal decay, societal decadence. Why? Because people have not understood that Africa has contributed the Ubuntu, the family, and people who have those strong family structures, they contribute to longer health, longer life. It's a discussion for another day. So I'm saying we have disconnected ourselves from indigenous systems.
Right. A message that comes and says, even my churches is anutora mari anonyora kuti international. Can I pass that?
Chakuti international.
Kana pasina international akweli.
So it manifests in different ways. So we are seeing that it manifests daily in what we do. Most of us, we have a very, very low self-esteem. We think our ideas are not powerful enough. We think most people do not know that they have ideas that they can put into books. When you publish a book, I know that they're Zimbabwean. Because they think it's the foreigners who can write books that make an impact. But we have our own stories. We have our own knowledge, our own capacity. So I'm saying it manifests in these things. So it affects day-to-day decision making. I remember this statement when I was young. I remember my mom telling me this story. I think somewhere, I don't know. My mom would buy me nice clothes that I would really look good. So one of the members of staff where my mom used to teach saw me dressed so good one day, and they said, "Hey, achena unge mrungu." So I'm saying this code or this ghost, it haunts us even today. I would want to get to this. There is an effect. I know it will offend some, but I'll give a disclaimer. It's good that we are bringing English into our institutions. Like now, ECD, it's a strictly English speaking ECD. That's why I gave a disclaimer. It's good because we want them to speak good English. But as long as they are not going to operate in an all English environment, it limits our ability to create. Because when most of your conversations are in your indigenous language, language affects creativity. So if it's something that is not consistent with every other of the environment that you are living in, you will not be able to be as creative in terms of coming with solutions that are relevant in the context. Language affects that. This explains why the Chinese, they teach science in their indigenous language. And it helps them enhance creativity at every level. So I'm saying it's good that we are taking our kids to an all English speaking preschool ECD. Why? Because why do we do that? Because we think it's better. To do advertise all English speaking. So this is the impact of colonial, because we associate good English with being learned.
I can also cheat the story correct.
Akatochikora tomseka. Tomseka. So this thing we're laughing about it, but it affects a lot now.
It does, yeah.
So there are many people who lost their self-esteem and who thought they were not good and intelligent enough because they could not speak good English, they could not understand English. So they thought they were not intelligent enough. So they could not unlock their creativity. Afuira kuchikoro. Who come to the ghost of education, get past here, right? So the internal effect is loss of self-knowledge. So we lose our self-knowledge. A distorted self-image. The way we see ourselves is not distorted. Then weak leadership identity. And so now in the deep, kuna mama church and dot kana usina kusunga tai. Awumire bamberi pe vanhu chiparidza.
Okay. Kana usina kutorabdziwa yo.
Kana usina kupfeka bojenzi ne tai. Awumire bamberi pe vanhu. Why? Because kuti ndo descends kana it has affected us. Zvisingaite. It gets to these levels. So Tarie is professional. professional etiquette.
It must be a tie.
So the impact is rapid. So weak leadership identity. So the gap that is created is on leaders. We lack conviction. The conviction that we can really do it. We can really change our narrative. We can really change our system. So most of us at personal leadership level, we don't have conviction that we can change the status of our lives. Most people don't have the conviction that they can do something to take their life, their family, their society to another level. They think they are doomed where they are. So this is the gap that has been created. So most people lack conviction for a better life. They think they are doomed at where they are. So because we lack conviction, this explains the mass exodus of people whenever things seem not to be working in our own context. So people, mass exodus, the brain drain, at no conviction we can make the shift in our local settings. So lack of conviction, then leaders follow instead of initiate. We don't initiate things. We don't initiate conversations. We don't initiate dialogue on things that pertain to where we are. Sitting at family level and say, what can we do to take our family from this level to another level? We begin to initiate conversations for personal development.
So why waste time?
So we think we think we can't reverse it. So we lack initiative. Then we manage instead of create. We manage instead of create. Remember I talked about the legal system.
Question, are you saying that we are reactionary? We wait for things to happen. Then we start running around to sort it out.
Or trying to manage what already is. We can't create our own things. We manage what is already there. Remember when I talk about creativity, I don't know to say something.
No, that's the chirungo.
Don't standard there. So we manage what we inherit. We manage what we inherited. But the key idea that this conversation wants to bring, I think, on a message that I was advertising in today's program, I had this quote: "The future is not inherited. The future is designed." So we can't continue inheriting things and not design what will make us relevant in the 21st century. Because a mechanism bringing AI into cleaning our rooms. But hold on.
And because the future is never inherited.
Yeah. The future is designed. So if you wait to inherit a future, you inherit whatever it is that the failures of the people of the past.
So the next few weeks are going to be very interesting. A few weeks as we talk about the coaster from the past year, and obviously with the flight that I got from him, it's going to be a very, very awesome time that we're going to have every Monday between 2:15 and 2:45. Coach Tarie.
So in conclusion, I would say, what we are recommending, what we are bringing is what we are calling leader shift. It's a shift in our understanding to begin to confront. So to begin to confront these gospels, we have to look at where we are and how we are living, the challenges that we are facing, and ask ourselves one key question: what are the basic assumptions